I don't wanna ride on somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Deep down inside, see it coming alive. I don't wanna ride on somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Deep down inside, see it coming alive. Help me find my own flame. Help me find my own fire. I want the real thing. I want your burning desire. Else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Deep down inside, see it coming alive. I don't wanna ride on somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Inside, see it coming alive. Help me find my own flame. Help me find my own fire. I want the somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Deep down inside, see it coming alive. I don't wanna ride on somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Deep down inside, see it coming alive. Help me find my own flame. Help me find my own fire. I want the real thing. I want your burning desire. Somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Deep down inside, see it coming alive. I don't wanna ride on somebody else's passion. I don't wanna find that I'm just dry bones. I wanna burn with unquenchable fire. Inside, see it coming alive. Help me find my own flame. Help me find my own fire. I want the real thing.
welcome. Hello everyone, once again to the studio here at Low House. I feel like pitching it quite high, calling the studio.
Yeah.
We call it the studio just so we know what room we're talking about. Welcome to the room where we keep the cameras. Welcome back. I think we've started like a minute or so early, and we always expect people to maybe join a little bit late. So rather than introduce ourselves, if you weren't here last week, and you know what we're going to be doing, maybe for the first 5 minutes or so, should we maybe just try and answer these? If people are on now, they might have already been on and tried to work out the answers to these. So when we came in, I was looking at them. Ellie, this is Ellie. Not introduced you yet. Ellie had a go at these, and I must admit I struggled. So I think I got the first one. I'm going to say that's an apple. It could be a cherry. It's some form of fruit.
I know some of the answers. So.
And that's pie.
Yeah,
so it's apple or cherry pie.
Apple pie.
Right, okay. I don't know what this was. It looks like someone's doing a rabbit or doing an OK sign.
Yeah, like a shadow puppet.
Yeah, so but I don't think rabbit bird is a thing.
No, chick flick.
Oh, there's a
Flicking
flick.
the chick.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Right. I don't think that's okay. Right.
How else would you flick someone?
I don't know. I feel we could make that easier than do right. Anyway, if you got that at home, well done. And then this one, it's a can and some corn. So it's a can of corn, kind of tin of corn.
Popcorn!
Oh right,
It's
it's
like
pop.
pop.
Right, okay, right. Once again, I feel if you just did a bubble being popped.
But how would you illustrate that?
A bubble with a needle going into it, and then that'll be pop, and that'll be corn. Right, I think I know that one. Feeling under the weather.
Yeah.
I know this one. Sailing over the seas.
Yeah.
Breaking a record.
Yeah.
Breaking a record. Fine. I got this one. Points to the knees. Bee's knees.
Yeah.
I got. These just like the end of the road.
I forgot what it is now. My head's just gone.
All right.
The end of the road. Yeah, I'll say
Right.
it's that.
Okay.
End of the
Right,
road. End of the
okay,
road.
then.
I think you might have said before wrong turn.
Could be the wrong. Well, it could be.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was your guess.
Right.
So I don't know if you know yourself.
And then at the bottom, I have absolutely no idea what this is. It's someone with a cup, someone tearing some paper, and 8:20. But I mean, is this American? There's something like, the school start at 8:20, so it's like school, good tearing school.
No, it's the winning, so win,
Right.
and the tearing, so winter
Right.
time. Winter time.
Well,
Winter time.
the famous
Yeah.
saying, winter time.
Yeah, it's winter time now.
Well, you would, but you say that about
It's like,
any.
it's a bit like summertime.
Yeah, but you can say that about any time.
You wouldn't say autumn time, would you?
Well, but you not say that when it's winter
yeah, I
time.
suppose you would, yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Right. Well, I don't think that's the same.
Winter
Right,
time.
okay. And I think this is the same thing. This is just like it's like go to bed, but he's getting up, so it's get up, wake me up before you go.
Get
Like,
up
wow.
and go.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, I'm doing well. This a fan of dogs. I don't think that's a saying either.
Hot dog.
Well, the dog's cool. He's got a fan in front of him. Why is the dog hot?
Because to cool him down, he'll have to be hot to be cooled down. So that's why you need a fan. If you were cold, you wouldn't use a fan, would
Surely the
you?
ding back then should be like something projecting heat onto him, because he's just he's cool now. Where have you got these from?
I'm saying it's hot dog.
I have no idea what this is like Inception with a twirly thing. That might be an 18 film, so I'm hoping people. I don't know what it is.
Toy Story.
What?
Because it's a little toy, and
It's
it's
a
like a storybook.
Of all
Toy
the
Story.
toys you could pick, you picked is it a dreidel or something? I don't know what, a spinny thing. I don't know what.
Yeah, like the old-fashioned toys.
Yeah,
Toy
but
Story.
when was this made then? The 50s? Of all the toys in all the world, you pick a spinny thing, and that was like a photo album, not a story.
It's a storybook.
Right, well, let's hope our hour or so we've got together today is going to be better than the dingbats. It's just after 5:30 now, so maybe we should introduce ourselves once again. So we were here last week, so once again, welcome back if you were with us last week. If not, welcome to the second one. Might be able to watch the other one on catch up, press the red button. Well, I don't know if there's a red button. That won't work. So hello, my name is Father Simon.
Hiya, I'm Ellie.
And doing the tech, we have...
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Lauren.
there exactly. We have Lauren.
Hello,
there we go.
everyone.
She's
Yeah.
Arallo
I've not even.
Oh, right.
There we go.
There we go. There
Hello,
she is.
everyone. There we go.
Right. Arallo camera's working, Lauren.
Just got a slight problem with one,
All right,
so we're
okay.
just on a slide. Yeah.
Right. So we'll
But you're fine.
right. We'll look over here then. So, do you want to remind people what we did last week and what we're doing this week then, Ellie?
Yes, so last week we had two special guests. One was called Anthony Cave. Hello, Anthony, if you're watching this week, hello. And the other one was called Pablo Guidi. And they were talking about being called by name and like how Anthony was able to become a deacon and his role in the church. And then last week as well, we had Pablo, who was called to service and talk about his... Call to action. I'm skipping ahead. Call to action, but his actions in society and what he does as well. So very interesting people we had on last week. And we've got more interesting people this week where we're going to be talking about call to serve and call to community.
There we go.
So.
And I think we did say it last week, but in case you missed it or in case you weren't here last week, the reason we're doing these call to and then a word is there's 4 stages to the confirmation scheme in our diocese. First of all, we look at call by name, because that is the idea of everyone being called by name, like from baptism. We're giving our baptismal name and we get our confirmation name. So everyone is called somehow and referred back to, the 12 apostles, the classic example of being called by name, that Jesus sees them and says, Peter, Andrew, come follow me. And that idea that we're also called. So that's stage 1 of it all. And then we're looking at stage 2 and 3 today, which is the call to serve and call to community bits. The call to serve bit is something that Year 8 pupils look at in their RE classes in school. So that's part of the RE curriculum kind of thing that they would do the scheme of work. So that's all about the academics, the theology behind what the gifts of the Spirit are, why we have patron saints, what's the point of all that. So they learn all about that in schools. That's stage 2. Stage 3 is the call to community, which is when young people then are invited to local preparation meetings in their parishes or deaneries or families of parishes, because that is the community you will then join when you are confirmed, that parish community. So as great as the school is, confirmation is a sacrament of the church, not the school. There is an interlink, a link between them, but you were confirmed into the parish community, so it's that community. So we're going to look at those two today with 2 different people. We did skip ahead, just because the way people were available, and we also looked at how, if being called by name, we're called to serve people, not to be served ourselves. We're called to be part of a community. Then if you put all of those things together, we're sent into action, put our faith into action. That's what Pablo spoke about last week. So that does leave this thing about call to serve and call to community. So although I've not really explained it at all though, I've just kind of given a little snapshot. So maybe before we get our guests up, like we did last week, it might be good to try and put those 2 things into context a little bit of what call to serve means, what call to community means, maybe with, I don't know, have you got as a cheap gimmick, Ellie?
Yes.
I always like a cheap gimmick.
So I'm going to challenge you now, Father Simon.
Right,
I'm going to
okay.
ask you.
Right, do I need to put my coffee down?
No, you don't. You're fine.
All right,
you're fine.
okay.
I can write, so it's okay. I want you to try and name as many Disney princesses as possible.
Disney princesses?
Yes.
Well, that is my wheelhouse, as you know.
There we go.
Big Disney princess fan.
I know.
This could be an awkward few seconds of silence.
Well,
right,
okay.
Well,
also, if you know any at home, please feel free to put in the chat. Try and help Father Simon out.
So we just have like 30 seconds
Yeah,
or
just
so.
have a think, have a
Alright,
think.
okay. Oh, I mean 30 second writing.
Oh, right,
30
sorry.
seconds.
Sorry. Right, yeah. I've got timer on.
Me thinking is not going to help. I think we're just going to go
We're just
straight
gonna go with
in.
it. We've got 3 on the board there to help you out.
That's it. I mean, those 3.
The names.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. We're going to go from the top.
Right.
I won't go the ones I know. Belle. I know Belle.
Yeah,
Is there an Aurora?
there is.
I'm going to go new princess as well. I believe she's an official one. Princess Leia.
Is she?
I think so.
I'll do it.
Well,
I'll
she
do
is
it.
Disney and she's called Princess.
I'll let you. I'll let you.
Is Rapunzel one?
She is, yes.
Mulan. I said that very enthusiastically.
Yes.
Mulan. Is there any help coming in the chat, Lauren?
No, I've just asked them now.
Right. Who? I can't even think of films.
You missed 2 off, and they're there.
Right. Oh, I don't. But that doesn't help. Is that Belle?
Yeah.
Oh, Cinderella.
Yes.
Oh, we've got one. We've got Elsa.
Well, thank you, whoever that is. Elsa.
Is that added one to your list?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Elsa.
fantastic. Snow White.
Snow White. That's good. Belle. Jasmine.
This
Oh.
Is this
individual is just doing them all by herself. I think.
right?
Oh.
I'm going to say I can see the name of the individual, and there was someone who was part of the team with that name who would have known all of these. And I don't know whether it's just a coincidence or it is that person. So anyway, thank you, that person. Jasmine. Have we got Jasmine?
Yeah, that did
Well, Jasmine. There we go. We've got a few.
Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got 9 there.
Oh, we're just going to go with 9. We'll roll with
We'll roll with
I'm
that.
quite happy. How many are there, Ellie?
I think it's 14 if you.
14.
Yeah.
Who am I missing then? Come on.
You've got. Now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
You've got Pocahontas.
All right.
You've got
Okay.
Anna from.
Oh,
Elsa
okay.
and Anna.
Right.
There you have. Oh wow, you have put me on the spot. I
I
can't
know.
think.
Well, this is what it's like, Ellie.
Oh,
You don't
gosh.
like it now, do you?
No, I don't. We're moving on anyway.
Okay.
Moving on,
Right.
moving on.
Okay.
Right, I'll give you a new category then.
Mhm.
So, can you name as many servants as possible?
Servants.
Servants.
Right.
They're a tricky one, I think.
Right. Right. Okay. The Servants from Downton Abbey.
Okay.
I've never seen it. I just know it's a TV program.
I don't know. I think you're a secret fan. You're coming out with that straight
It was
away.
a TV show in the 80s called Upstairs Downstairs. The Servants from Upstairs Downstairs. The servants in the film Titanic. You might realise where I'm going with this.
Flipping it.
There was another comedy show, which was like a parody of Upstairs Downstairs in the 80s called You Rang My Lord. So the servants in You Rang My Lord.
Oh my days.
It was like Heidi High, but it was
I'm going to change it. I want specific names now.
Alfred the Butler from Batman. Servants. It isn't really much of a thing. You know, they all don't tend to have names. If you see them in TV shows, not many of them have names. There's like a character there comes in and serves and then leaves. So, yeah, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. We forgot to say in the chat. I think we've wound it up now. So there's maybe
Yeah,
not,
there isn't
yeah,
actually.
don't, yeah, we'll
I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
right. And I think I've done because there's quite a lot of servants in Downton Abbey and
I'm
Titanic
not,
and stuff.
no, I can't
So
give
that's
you
probably
all
got
that.
a couple of hundred.
Flipping it. No, I'm not giving you that.
Right.
I've decided.
Right.
Just one each.
Well, I mean, based on the fact the last one was servants and we're looking at call to serve, I'm guessing that was your cheap gimmick.
It is indeed.
Right.
It is.
Well, go on. Do you want to expand on that a little bit more to anyone that's watching?
Because, like we opened up by saying, we're all in our RE lessons. We're asked to look at like the curriculum and different things like that. And just like with all these servants, it might have been a bit tricky, but realistically, it should have been like the easiest of all because we've all been called to serve. Like by confirmation, we're asked to be there, and we're all servants of Jesus and God, and we go out there to serve in like the world around us as well.
So I suppose in some ways, like the Disney princesses are servants then. So I could have just used them.
Yeah.
So I could be.
You could put my name, you could put your name.
I could have put anyone's name.
Yeah.
So I think so through confirmation, because we're called by name, we're not called by name just ourselves to like do what we want. We're called to serve other people, so anyone's name could be on there. So whoever's watching this at home, whoever you might be watching it with, you know, it's a family member, mum or dad, grandma, grand, whoever there, those names could go on. So the name, so there could be what, however many billion people there are in the world.
Lots and lots, yes.
I feel that's tricky, Ellie.
It is.
You've tricked me.
Haha!
So there we go. So I think the idea. So even though we've got one person who's going to be speaking about servanthood and service, it isn't like saying that person is any better or any worse than anyone else. It's just maybe an example of what they've done. But I suppose anyone that's watching this, including even us, you know, to be honest, we could say we're servants as well. And maybe what they're going to speak about is just an example of service rather than the only way you could serve someone. It's more like a way of living life, perhaps. Is that right? So that does leave then community. Well, you know, as you were Trixie there,
Right.
I want to throw one back at you now.
Oh no, okay.
So, if people are watching this, you could do it two ways. But I know you are not really a big football fan. But if you are like a football fan or a rugby fan, you can do the same kind of thing with this. But I know you're more of a music fan. You like your concerts and festivals, stuff like that. So I want you to just have a quick think. If you were going to plan your own, it says here concert, but maybe like festivals like Glastonbury, Christenbury. Well, that would be just like praise and worship music. So you can have any kind of music.
Alright, okay.
Now, if you were going to plan that from say midday through to midnight,
Oh right, okay.
like, you know, 5 or 6 bands,
5 or
singers, something like that. How would you plan your day? And while you're just thinking about that, I'll just say, you know, you could be watching this at home. I'm not into like the music either, so I don't have a clue how I would do this. But I might go like football team. You know, what players would I have? You know, past, present. Who would you have? What positions would you have? That kind of thing. Or like rugby, cricket, I don't know, or anything like this. You know, whatever you're into, I'm sure you can think of the equivalent kind of thing, whatever it could be. Right, I've spoke for a few seconds.
I think I've got it.
Right, go on. So
but these aren't in order.
Oh no, well, you don't need them
Right,
in order.
okay.
Because that's the reason I asked for it is in some kind of order.
Right,
so go on.
Okay.
Right, go on.
So, I've got S Club 7.
Are they starting off?
Yeah.
Right, so you're getting the crowd going straight away.
Yeah.
S Club.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good, right, okay.
And then we're going to have Olivia Rodrigo, bring it down a little bit.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, she's like an American singer, but she's more like...
Mellow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So bring it down a bit there. And then we'll get back up with Girls Aloud.
As you know, I'm a big Girls Aloud fan.
Yes.
Seen Girls Aloud live in the original incarnation. There you go, yeah.
They've just gone out of my head. Oh no. Right, the Jonas Brothers.
I know who they are.
Because they're like party people as well. Then I'm going to do... I'm going to go One Direction, so bring them back together.
Alright.
Yeah, because
okay.
they put on a good show as
You
well.
know, Girls Aloud are back, so why not?
And then, at the end, it's going to be a Eurovision extravaganza
Wow.
with all the acts also participating.
Right. So I can see what you've done there. You've got quite a few different things. Now, I know why I asked you to do that, so maybe I could wrap that up because I'm aware it's 1:45. That means our first guest should be more or less. Yeah, so do you want to go and bring up our first guest, Ellie? And then I'll wrap that up and explain maybe why we did it in terms of community. I'm just going to ask Lauren if is our second camera or main camera working again? Which was
We've just got 2 cameras.
those two, yeah. So I'll look at. I'll sat on an odd angle there, so I can look forward again now. So I suppose the reason I asked Ellie to do that, there was a reason, just like she asked me to do the call to serve idea with servants, them all servants. I think the call to community thing, what I wanted Ellie to think about, and maybe you at home, forgot to ask if you wanted to have a go there, and I hope you had a think a little about it. But if you're planning a concert, a festival, or a football team, a rugby team, or anything like that, then obviously you don't just have the same kinds of people all the way through. You know, like Ellie said, I'm going to start off with something to get the crowd going, which is Club 7, then I'm going to take it down and bring it back up, and then I'm going to end with the finale. So if you end with like the best thing, then everything else is going to be a bit disappointing after that. And so you want to have peaks and troughs so that people get excited about different things, and then people can like chill out a little bit so they get their energy back, and then they can go again, and then you bring it all together at the end. And that's what you do when you're creating something like a festival or a concert. And in the same way, you're putting together like a football team or like a rugby team or something. You know, you don't have a team of 11 goalkeepers. You pick the best person for the best position. And you hope that they all gel together and work harmoniously together. And that's how a community works. That everyone has their own role. The sports team, everyone has their own role on the pitch. You stick to that role, and everyone else sticks to that role, and then the whole team, the whole community should function well together. In a festival, if you start going off script and doing things that you shouldn't be doing, it ruins the plan that someone else has put together. So I suppose as a community, that's really what we're thinking about. Everyone has a role in that community, and if we play our role, then it makes the community as best as it can be. Which fits in well, because I have our first guest just arriving now. So coming in with
Thank you.
So we've just spoke a little bit about call to serve, and I was just wrapping up call to community there.
Okay.
And I think that is what you're here to, well, partly kind of expanding a little on. But we haven't said who's coming in this time. Last week we introduced everyone in advance. So at the moment, just a random stranger who's just walked into a room. So do you want to tell everyone who you are, where you come from, in blind date style?
Yeah, so my name is Kate. I'm a school chaplain at All Hallows in Penwitham. I don't know what else you want to know about me, really. I've been involved in the church and lots of different things youth ministry-wise since I was about 18. Lived in community when I was 18, working in a retreat centre, and then I've done lots and lots of other bits and pieces, thrown my hat in every area possible to get involved. So, yeah, that's me.
Great. So, well, I'm sure we'll find out a little bit more. We'll delve deeper, because I think you've thought of some questions, haven't you? I know you've told me a few that I'm asking, but do you want to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit?
Go straight in.
Right. Okay.
Can you remember being confirmed, and what's your confirmation name and why?
Oh gosh. Well, I actually can't remember being confirmed because I was actually confirmed at age 7, which is really, really young.
I was the same, so
really
yeah.
So I grew up in Salford Diocese, and we used to do confirmation, First Communion and reconciliation all in the same year group all together when I was 7 years old. So I hardly remember it at all. Now I've seen pictures since, but don't remember much about my confirmation at all. And my confirmation name is Claire, Claire of Assisi. And to be honest, at the time, I thought, Claire sounds nice. Fits nicely with my name, let's go with that. So I always say, whenever I'm talking about my confirmation name, is that St. Clair picked me rather than me picking St. Clair. But yeah, I definitely see how St. Clair's played a little role in my life and prayed for me along the way. But at the time, I had absolutely no understanding of who St. Clair was. I just picked a very nice name. But looking back, she's definitely picked me and helped me along the way as well.
I suppose that's probably the same for a lot of people. I think when they're picking a name, you just go, that sounds alright.
Absolutely.
I think I said last week, didn't I didn't have any choice at all. I was a baby. I was just thrust. I just got Peter. So, I don't know whether it was all one that I got Simon and then Peter. Like it was just Simon. They went, oh, give him Peter as well.
It's always the vision.
Yeah. I don't know. Give him something. So I suppose like what we said last week is like confirmation name is maybe the name that God knows you by a little bit. So that's a reminder a bit of like this idea of the community bit. So I suppose we wanted to focus a little bit on that idea about how through confirmation we're welcomed into the community. That young people are at schools, maybe most at Catholic schools, but whatever school you're in that community. But confirmation is supposed to open the door to a wider faith community, the parish and the wider faith community as well. So I think that name is like an important thing about it as well. But if you remember a name, what else do you want to know, Emily?
Well, knowing a little bit about yourself, because you've been involved with loads of different things throughout like the Archdiocese and like wider like diocese as well. So how has like being part of like the different things like inspired you on your own faith journey as well?
Yeah, so I think if we're talking about community and faith, I actually think that community is probably one of the most important things about a journey of faith. I don't believe that God created any of us to live in isolation and live on our own, but God actually created us to work and to journey together and to build God's kingdom, and we can't do that singularly on our own. So all of the things I've been involved with have definitely proved that to me. So from being part of my parish, I was part of a YCW, Young Christian Workers Group, when I started that at 11 years old. So ever since that, I've been part of little groups in a parish or in a diocese that have sort of helped me to really explore and have the confidence to explore faith and my relationship with God. And then when I got a bit older, I then was working youth work at 18, and that was surrounded by the Salesian family and the Salesian sisters, and that was a community in itself. And then loads and loads of opportunities have just opened up with different groups and organisations and religious orders throughout my life. And in every single one of them, I've always made a group of friends for life. So I've got lots of different groups of friends that have been based around this, where it's come from, this seed of faith, really. But all of those I've been able to be completely and truly myself, because I've not had to hide the fact that I'm a person of faith, that I'm Catholic, that I've been able to talk about God playing a part in my life. So I think being able to do that means that then you're being completely yourself with those people. And that's then enabled me to go on as I've got older to be able to live a life in community with other people that might not have a faith and have the confidence then to talk about it. So having that community of people who are Catholic or are Christian sort of encourages you to really delve into your faith, but have then the confidence to go out and speak about it in other communities and other places. And I really think that community is so important. So retreats that I've been on, groups that I've worked with on the synod, lots and lots of things have all just been playing a part in just sort of encouraging me in my faith, but then encouraging me to speak out about it as well, giving me that confidence.
I forgot because got upstairs quite quick this time. Last week, I think Ellie did a marathon before she brought the first person on. So I was killing a bit of time thinking, but Lauren was very specific. Said, make sure before Kate comes up, you say, if anyone has any questions to say, to put it in the chat. So I ran out of time, so I'm going to say it now. So we have already started the questions, but if there is anybody watching that if Kate says anything, you think, I'd like to know a bit more about that, or I want to expand that, make sure you put things in the chat. Lauren is monitoring it for us, and will let us know and can jump in. Is that right, Lauren? So I think that... I think one of the interesting follow-up though to like all those different things was, you know, you kind of did speak a little bit about them already, but and this, I don't know, it might not be the case actually if you were confirmed like younger, but would you say there is any kind of link between confirmation, or I suppose like just the sacraments in general then, and you know, that an openness for yourself to go into those communities, or that might help you once you are in those communities, because last week we did speak a bit about, you know, gifts of the Spirit and that kind of thing, and not going to put you on the spot, because if someone asked me I'd forget all the gifts of the Spirit immediately. I know they're there, and then as soon as someone asks me I go, they're around there somewhere. But you know, I suppose we do know we get these things, and but we also know that community, living in community and being in community might not be always the easiest thing as well. It can be beneficial and can really help. But so, you know, is there any link or overlap between, you know, confirmation, the sacrament, something like that maybe someone's watching this to go, all right, well that's where that can lead for me then, or how it could help?
Yeah, I think for me, although I was confirmed at 7, I think it probably gave me an opportunity to explore faith a little bit more. So we did lots of preparation, not like this on live stream, but in person. But we did lots and lots of preparation. I think that's probably where the seed was planted of me having an interest in God and exploring a little bit more about God. And I suppose since then it's just carried on. So thinking about it, that was probably the point where there was this little seed planted to go actually just explore this a little bit more. So if we're thinking about gifts of like the Holy Spirit, the one that always comes to mind is wisdom. I wasn't particularly a confident person academically, although I'd say I was quite good in school and I was getting quite good scores, but I never had the confidence to think, oh, I've done well with that, or I've done okay with that. But the one area of my schooling, my education, that I did have confidence in was always RE. And I always had a love of RE, I loved the subject, and I was confident in what I was doing. And I think that because I've been involved in those communities and understood a little bit more about it, it gave me the confidence to do that. And then since then, I've then gone on to do more study, and then I've just started and gone back to university again this year to study a little bit more. Right. So wisdom follows me around a little bit, but maybe not so much academic wisdom, but more wisdom just to explore faith and get to know God a little bit better in that way, I suppose. But yeah, community, I think, is important to that, to just sort of foster those gifts a little bit more and to draw them out of you, I think. But I suppose if we're talking about community and my experience of community in church, I think there is a challenge for young people in terms of community, because the community of young people is not always on the doorstep. So there's not always something available in the local parish, there's not always something available really locally, and I've always felt that I've had to travel to find a Catholic community. And that's not actually a bad thing, because you're meeting people from up and down the country, you're meeting people from all over the world, and I've literally made friends for life who live all over the country and all over the world, and we make time to meet up with each other regularly. So those opportunities then mean that it's opened up the world of faith rather than just my own little bubble. But it is a challenge, because then you have to spend time travelling, you have to put yourself out there. But I would encourage any young person, especially at this point of confirmation, is to reach out and to find opportunities to get involved in things to do with church, and to just throw yourself in it and see what God can provide for you. And being confirmed is an even better reason to do it, because he's given you the gifts to be able to have the confidence to go out there and do it. So grab every opportunity, because there is lots out there, but you just have to be willing to travel maybe a little bit for it.
I should we could do a plug, because I know there's I know you are doing something down the north end of the diocese, so I don't know it might be no one from that area, but there might be people who are willing to travel. So do you want to say what you're offering to people? I mean, so, it's a good example.
That was a great link. We didn't even plan that. So every month in our family of parishes, we have a youth club. So Catholic Lancs Youth. And we meet once a month, we have pizza together, we explore faith a little bit, we play games, we get to know each other. It's just the opportunity for community. So since it's a plug, we are on Instagram, so you can give us a follow, Catholic Lancs Youth, and everybody is more than welcome to join us. So if you're out at the top of the diocese or even in Liverpool, you are more than welcome to join us, and we love to have lots of people there. But yeah, we're doing lots of our confirmation prep as well through that, so if you want to explore confirmation a bit more, you can come to that as well. So yeah, lots of good things happening.
Yeah, that's great. I think that is one of the things sometimes, it's a long time ago for me now, when being a young person in the church I was at, but I mean really, I go to church on the Sunday. I think I'd probably be the youngest person there. I mean, I might still be if I went back now, to be honest. But I'm sure there's people watching this and maybe wondering confirmation. It's great. I've signed up for that, but I'm being confirmed, or I'm entering a church that maybe. This sounds harsh, and I'm taking my time and thinking, because I don't want to say the word, but I can't think of a better word at the moment. But almost like dying around me, and no one wants to be part of a community that isn't flourishing. Any community doesn't. It's not the church. Anything. You don't want to go to a restaurant that's dead because you think, why is there no one in there? You don't anything like that. You want people around you, that you want something flourishing. Yeah. But it can be easy if you go to maybe a local church. You might be going now, people watching this, or after confirmation, you might think, oh, it's great. I feel a bit more confident about myself. I'm gonna go to church, and then you go, and all of a sudden you think, crikey, is this it? This is not the community, and this isn't me. I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot here a lot, but I mean, I don't know. Is there anything you could say to anyone with that? Just as a general thing.
Absolutely. So I exactly know that feeling, and I'm holding on to the fact I'm youth in the church. I'm 32, and so 35.
You've got a few years.
But that's so true. When you walk into a parish church, you don't always see people around you that are the same age, and it's not easy sometimes to build community with people who aren't living maybe a common life to you, aren't at school. But I suppose the beauty of our church is the fact that it is made up of so many generations, and the people that sat in those pews really do care about young people, and they want us to be there and be present and to help them in new ways of being church, from live streams and social media and all of those things, and bringing our own gifts and things like that. And I always talk about my own parish at home of talking about having extra grandparents, so I have like 105 extra grandmas and granddads sat in church, or aunties or uncles, and that's lovely, but it does take a bit of confidence to be able to do that. But the way that I sort of built my confidence was going to these retreats or going to events, and getting that real high point of faith, and then remembering that then we hear in the Bible about the Transfiguration, they go up to this high point, they go up to the mountaintop, they have this most incredible experience, but they're sent back down. They're sent back down to earth, back to the normal everyday. And that's sort of what we do as church, really. We have these big mountaintop experiences that are amazing, but then we're still sent back, and we can do wonderful things. We just have to have the confidence to be able to do it. Lots of people talk about young people being the future of the church, but they're definitely not. Young people are the now of the church. We've got much a part to play in it as anybody else. And sometimes we just have to go with the confidence of saying, maybe we could do something, maybe we could do something more. And the church is definitely there to listen. We just have to be the ones to speak out and to say how we can help and offer our gifts and talents, not just wait to be asked sometimes as well.
It's tricky. It's a tricky balance. It's a tricky balancing act, because I know in St Helens, and we've done our confirmation prep here, we've done we call it like the synod thing. I know you've been involved with synod. We may come back to like what that is and maybe different things like that. But it's basically asking young people about what they see the church as being. Mm-hmm. And in some ways there is some receptivity from the catechists and people involved, that they are willing to listen to that. But then on the other hand, you know, the young people as well who are saying, you know, I do this, or I want to be more involved in this, then also need to follow that through. So, you know, we said last week, you know, we're not, the people sat here, you know, doing this, we're not saying, oh, we're the best of everything. You know, I suppose it's just giving people who are watching a chance to think about these different areas of confirmation and community is such a vital bit, but there is an element then of personal responsibility in that community. The community isn't just going to magically change overnight just because you've been confirmed, and everyone go, great, like Ellie's been confirmed, let's everything change, even though Ellie's never spoken to anyone or told anyone what's going on. There is a kind of thing that, you know, through the preparation, this might be a chance to get to know the catechist and maybe a parish priest and maybe other people, and say, well, you know, is there any chance of doing this, that and the other, or how can I be involved in such a thing? You know, I can play the guitar, you know, what do you do for the music? And that allows like the community to be, you know, to flourish and to be a part of, you know, someone to be a part of the community.
Sorry, we
have
had a slide. Sorry, we've got a problem with cameras at the moment, so I
was carrying on, but I think we better accept something's gone on with the camera.
So sorry about that.
At least the cameras are working.
Well, yeah, I've just had to move them around, so sorry everyone watching. It's one of those things.
I can see. Oh, there you go. I think that's about right. I can see YouTube. Yeah, we're back. Oh no.
Okay, carry on. It's all right.
I'm doing something. That's on your iPad, Lauren. It's Ellie's cut off. There you go.
There we go. It's the iPad's slowed down, so don't look at that.
All right. Okay. Right.
You're fine.
Yeah, something's happening. Are you just going to stand there?
For the moment in time. And
right.
A little leave.
Then in some ways, you could probably get an idea of community from this, because this is not the cheap gimmick that we're looking to highlight what community is, but in many ways, this is it. You've got everyone playing the part. And,
absolutely.
That has thrown. I was talking about young people trying to get involved in the community. That was it, yeah.
And I suppose it's not always easy, is it, when you don't feel like you're still trying to get to know people and all of that. But when you were talking about like preparation and through confirmation preparation, being able to discern and think a little bit more about the role you play within a community. And I always think that confirmation preparation is just as important as confirmation itself. God works through that preparation to prepare ourselves and our hearts ready for that moment of receiving those gifts and being confirmed in the church. And that's when we have thought about, and we've thought about who we are and why we're going to say our yes at confirmation, why we're going to accept this moment as a moment of really entering into the community. And when we then stand there and say that yes to God and say, yep, I'm here, we should already, I suppose, have in our minds ways in which we can play a part in that community. So that's why I suppose the preparation is really important, because it's a time for us to think about what does it mean to be part of a Catholic community? What does it mean for me to play my part in this community as well? Yeah. And there is lots of opportunities, but I do think that the church definitely needs young people's enthusiasm, young people's hearts, young people's gifts to really drive the church forward as well. Because there's lots of wonderful things that we could do. We just need some new ideas and some new life to be able to help us with that.
It does, yeah. It is really tricky, and I'm just going to come back to it slightly, because it's almost self-perpetuating, like, it goes round in a circle. If you go into the church and think, oh, everyone seems a lot older than me, and this isn't my idea of being a community, and why aren't they doing this, why aren't they doing that? But then, no, you don't get any fresh blood and you don't get any fresh ideas, then obviously it always will be, and it'll just keep going round in a circle. Yeah. At some point that circle has to be broke. Yeah. But it is incredibly hard, and I'm saying this as if it's really easy, and you're in year 8 and you just rock up on a Sunday and go, hello, Father. So next week, me and May is going to bring a guitar, I'm going to do all the praise and worship hymns, get rid of all Mrs. Miggins on the organ. That's not happening. And that realistically, that is not going to happen. So I don't know how you bridge that somehow. Yeah. But I suppose maybe there is an encouragement that confirmation is supposed to be making like a full member of the church and confirming your baptism. So you've got as much right as anyone. Absolutely. With any of that.
And I think it's worth having those conversations. If you feel like you've got something to give, have that conversation. And I'm sure that they'll be receptive to that and be open to it. And it might face challenges. I mean, my faith life and be involved in the life of the church has not been easy, but every no I've had, or every negative response I've had, or every challenge that I've had, there's always been a moment of learning, and there's always been God's hand in it all to say, you weren't ready for that at that point, but now you are, so here's this opportunity. So it's just about being really aware of what we can give, and not just shying away, or not just thinking that nobody wants to listen, because there are some wonderful, good communities out there that really do want to listen and embrace the gifts of young people. So there's an element of asking God for resilience and for all the gifts that you need to be able to maybe cope with the no's and the pushback a little bit, so that we can play our part. No community is perfect. Everybody who has ever lived in community will know that community life is not easy. It has its challenges like any other community, and the church is no different. We're not there because we're all perfect. We're there because we're trying our best, but we are going to get it wrong sometimes.
Well, I think it leads on very nicely. So one of our last questions is how is a faith community different from a standard community? It's a bit of a difficult question. Yeah, it's a very big question.
Yeah. I think, well, from my experience, being in a faith community means I can be completely myself and completely accepted for who I am. I think in other communities, there's an element of expectation. So if you look at the world around us today, we're obsessed with the perfect selfie or the perfectly created social media feed. And although it's not true in all church communities, I'd like to think that all people of faith should be accepting of every single person just as they are, because that's how God accepts all of us. So if God is asking us to imitate him, which actually, interestingly, going back to Chrurch always talks about us imitating God as the way to build community and be the best people we can be by imitating Jesus. If we're going to imitate him by welcoming everyone and forgiving everyone and being open and loving everybody, then we've got to be the most accepting community that you could ever experience. So I think there's a role for us to play in that, but then I think if I think of other communities I've been a part of, it's not always that easy to talk about my faith life, or there's elements of my life where I wouldn't talk about that because they might judge me about that, or I might dress in a certain way to go meet that community because of judgment. So whereas with my experience of a faith community, I can be completely and utterly myself and know that I'm accepted for who I am. And that does come with a challenge because everyone has to be part of that. But I've had a really positive experience of faith communities, really.
I think Father Simon always goes on about as well, without the faith community, some of the experiences that we get to experience through the people around us, all the people we get to meet, like, it's just not, we can't really compare the different societies, like,
Absolutely.
go through meeting so many, like you said, meeting all around the world, all throughout the country, and that is through you having your faith and having that experience as well. So it is. I would say it's the same. It's a big question, but it's yeah.
And that shared experience before you've even talked. So you've shared an experience that somebody knows, you've got a common ground before you've even said a word to each other, because you've both come from your own churches, wherever you're meeting in Australia, Germany, or over here. So you have that common ground already.
I think we were actually I was in your school on Fridays for like vocations thing. And, and one of the things I was trying to say with the Year 9 group was like vocation has opened so many doors for me as a person, and that's what I was trying to say. And I think we had 7 minutes for mini groups and the carousel around, and it was great to do that. And I think all the Year 9s saw dozens of different people for 7 minutes at a time. Well, I think the difficulty was that 7 minutes wasn't enough to tell them about the different opportunities that faith offered. So I said, although I am a Catholic priest, I don't want to speak about priesthood because I think other people are gonna cover that. I just want to speak more about the sense of vocation and following like a call and where that might lead. And for some people it does lead to priesthood, religious life. It does do, and it should do for some people. But just as a general thing, and then I was trying to give them examples of things like Lourdes Pilgrimage and World Youth Day and all these other different experiences. And I realised afterwards it might sound like I was showing off a bit, but I wasn't. Because I think, hey, look at me, I've been to Rio, that's me on the Copacabana. But I obviously wasn't saying that, but I would never have gone to Rio. I wouldn't have heard confessions on the Copacabana without confirmation and faith and this vocation and all of those different things, and that's the community that you're given to, which I don't think many other secular communities offer. They can offer great opportunities, but it can be like a similar opportunity every year. It can be in a school and you get to go to XYZ, but that might be every couple of years you do the same trip, and then it's a similar community every year. And I think you've given examples there. Maybe just to like wrap it up, you didn't mention like the synod kind of things. I know you're involved in. So a synod, if you're watching this, you might not know what it is. Well, I mean, because you've been involved in kind of a few different areas, so maybe just to wrap it up, because I think this gives an example of how you can be part of a community but help form that community as well. Because someone might go, oh, that's great, they're saying that. No one's going to listen to me, no one's interested in young people. This is maybe a good example of where faith can lead, but also then how you can maybe bring other people with you as well. So is that maybe okay?
Yeah, so I suppose Pope Francis is talking a lot at the moment about a synod or synodality, and synodality is a way of being church, a way of being a community really, a way of listening to every voice in the community to be able to make the church the best it can be. It's a way of living, it's a way of listening to each other, it's a way of acting together to build God's kingdom. And the synod is an event as well as being a way of being. But this event, we've had lots of different synods or synodal events, but I suppose I started my link with synodality and synods was when the Archdiocese had their own Archdiocesan synod, and I was asked to be a part of their working group. So I was a part of a small group of us that sort of planned the way forward of how we will how we would ask questions so we could listen to the community, and then how we could then work together to be able to respond and create a way of being as an archdiocese really. But then that led with my job then in school. I was then listening to the young people and finding out from them what they wanted, what they appreciated about church, and what they appreciated about the Catholic faith, what they found difficult, what were the challenges, what were the joys. So you got to get a real insight into the life of young people and the life of people that were really living at the heart of the church, whether it was good or bad. And then from that led me then to work with the Bishops' Conference, so England and Wales, on a more national level to help them put together the national synthesis, because Pope Francis wanted a big national synod event to take place, but with lots of different synodal moments, so lots of moments of listening to the universal church, the church all around the world. So then I was involved in the national synthesis, so this big piece of writing that they were putting together that incorporated all of the listening and all of the thoughts and feelings of basically Catholics all around England and Wales. So it was an absolute privilege to be a part of that, and we were given this massive document with every single diocesan paper in it. They were limited to so many pages, but lots of them ignored it, as you can imagine. So we had to read all of that, and it was really interesting to read it because lots of what the young people were saying at All Hallows that I'd listened to a few years earlier, and then what was being said in Westminster Diocese or in Lancaster Diocese or in Cardiff were all really similar, whether they were 85 or 12. They had a really similar experience of what they thought the church could do better and how it could better be a community and how it could better build God's kingdom. And that, listening to all of that, has then inspired me to do something about it. So when our young people at All Hallows were talking about, we want to get more involved, we want to do this, I said, okay, we'll set up a youth group. And then it gives you almost permission to be able to do something, because you know you're responding to something that people really want, that people really want to see. It's not just something you think, oh, well, we'll do this just because it might be okay, but you're actually saying, oh, they wanted this, so we'll do it. And then it means it's going to last and it's going to build and it's going to make a real difference. But being involved in all those different things has led me then to work with lots of different people, and then ultimately, I suppose, work nationally as well and have that influence, which I don't think many 30-odd-year-olds, and I'm calling myself a young person still, young people get all the time, especially in the church. But I'm definitely seeing myself as someone who's trying to advocate for and encourage other young people to get involved because they want to hear it. They just need sometimes young people to step forward themselves. But I do appreciate I've been very lucky in that way to have that influence. But
I think that's a nice way, maybe just to wrap things up. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat, Lauren, but I think that's a nice way. I think I was hoping, and I think it has proved that faith can open so many doors. And if someone's sat there going, well, this is the community, and they just see it as their parish, then that's really missing something. Because all those different examples there, and then having a voice within all those different areas, just shows how confirmation of faith can open so many doors around us. So if you're sat there just thinking, oh, the community is just this, and just like that church or that school. That's just a part of the community, so much bigger, and I think confirmation can open that door. So hopefully that's maybe encouraging to people there. You're maybe a bit too young to be heading off to the Vatican and telling Pope Francis, but you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to, if you progress through, then this could be you.
And I would say as well is that God has a really clear plan for everybody's life, and all we have to do is just spend a little bit of time trying to tune into that and trying to think for ourselves, what has God made me for? What gifts has he given me? What qualities and gifts and talents has he given me to be able to live in the world? And he will know exactly where we need to be. We just have to take the time to try and listen to him, as difficult as that is. And looking back over my life and the different things I've been involved in, there has been a really clear plan. God has had it all in line all along, and it's not always easy to hear him, but he's definitely planted people and opportunities in my life to help me grow in my faith, and we just have to be willing and ready and enthusiastic enough to just grab it with both hands and not worry about whether we're seen as cool because it's to do with the church, but just give it a go, because you don't know what opportunities that's going to open. You don't know where that's going to take you in your life. I didn't expect to be where I am today, and at every moment of my life there's been something that's happened. So one quick example is when I was going to university. I didn't want to go to university at all, and I went on an Easter retreat, and someone was there who'd been to that same university, that a theology university, so doing RE. And he said, I think you should go and have a look round. And I went on a look round and I fell in love with the place. And I was like, right, I'm going to university now. And that's just then led on to lots and lots of different things. So God definitely has a plan. We just have to be aware of who we are, who he's created us to be, and try our best to tune into what he has. And he just wants happiness and joy for us. So there can't be anything but that in our lives if we're trying to tune into it.
I think that's a perfect way to end this bit. So thanks very much to Kate. So I think Ellie will escort you down and bring our next person up. So thank you very much. Thanks very much to Kate. And just while we await our next guest on thinking about call to serve. I think it's just in case you wonder, we did say it last week. We do we're finish before we'll finish before 6, so we've got like half an hour or so. So it should be fine, hopefully, for people watching. So our next, I think that was interesting listening to Kate talk about community days. I suppose it's a little bit different from last week when we spoke about like the name and action, especially action perhaps, because by its name and like definition you can talk about the things you can do. Whereas community is a bit more, it isn't something you do, it's something you're part of, so it's maybe a bit more difficult to try and explain what that is, because everyone's community is different, of course, and like Kate's experience of community is always going to be different to what your experience of community is and could be, because we're all different and would be called different communities. Well, hopefully it might just give an idea of like the benefits of being part of a community. I think the end bit, especially when she spoke eloquently about the difference between the secular community, like the world communities, the difference between going to Brazilian jiu-jitsu community or something and being part of a church community where there's this sense of being accepted and being able to be yourself. He's right, like the world in which we live, that can be very, very difficult to find. Everyone looking for the perfect Instagram photo and all kinds of other things, and I suppose in some ways there's no harm in us trying to wanting to look our best and present the best view we can to other people. But in the broader sense of things, if that's the only thing that we focus on and we miss, and then we end up becoming somebody else or a fake version of ourselves because we're so concerned with what other people are thinking and all that kind of stuff. And I suppose that's missing the point of then who we are created to be, which is like how Kate ended it all there. But our next guest is going to be thinking about, I suppose, something similar but different. It's being called to serve, and we've got different questions for that individual who can introduce himself when he comes up and why he's here. But I suppose the idea is being of service to a community. The community flourishes is at its best when people are of service to each other, and that's like how it builds up. So it should be interesting to see how these two ideas work together. And as if by magic, our next guest is here now. So come in, grab a seat. So I've not introduced you. No one knows who you are or anything about you. So we've left that for you to do. All I've said is that you're. So we're focusing on like the 4 different elements of confirmation, and your bit is the last one. Say the best till last, some might say, or not say. But you're kind of thinking about that call to serve. So Ellie's thought of a few different questions all about that. But just before we get started, do you want to tell our audience who you are, what your background is and such like?
Yeah, so is this the camera there?
Are we back on the central one, Lauren? Yeah, we are back on the central
So
one.
I'm looking at that straight away.
Yeah, you can do. And you can look at us as well.
Okay.
Otherwise you're staring dead-eyed into a camera.
You can see I'm not very media savvy.
Right, yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben McMullen, and my new job actually, is working for the Archdiocese as Deputy Director of Education, and I started that just in January.
And we just had Kate up here, but you used to work with Kate as well. So you've just started this job, but before that you were teacher at.
Yeah, that's right. My background is secondary school RE teaching, and I've been a teacher for 29 years. The first 4 years of my career was teaching in Wigan at St John Fisher High School in Wigan. And then after 4 years there, I moved to Penwitham in the very north of the Archdiocese, just outside Preston, at All Hallows Catholic High School, where I joined there as a second in RE. After 3 years, became head of RE, did head of RE for 9 years, and then the last 12 years were deputy head of the school, overseeing the Catholic life of the school, but also still teaching RE. So I always had 2 GCSE classes a year. I was always very keen to stay involved with RE teaching in the classroom.
So there you go.
And so I work with Kate there, because Kate's the chaplain.
Kate's the chaplain.
Yeah, there's a picture currently on screen of you and Kate, so there you go.
That was at Castlerigg Manor, so we would go on retreats about 3 or 4 times a year to Castlerigg. I think that was a year 8 retreat weekend, and I'm on there with the orange hood. Where's Kate on that?
Just behind you.
Oh, with a hat on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we did many retreats, and Kate and I would always go on the retreats, yeah.
It was, I think, Ellie's got some questions, but I just thought he was, because I said I was in All Hallows doing a thing for like year 9 with the vocations thing. There might be people from All Hallows maybe watching this, and it was like, and they might, but I imagine it funny because they now you probably knew your first name anyway, but just referred to, because I was talking about something else you do, we'll come to later, the Lourdes Pilgrimage. So, some of your staff, so there's Mr. McMullen. I thought, I don't even need to refer to you as Mr. McMullen anymore, because you're not anymore.
No, I'm never be. I mean, Kate, well, when I go into primary schools now with the new job, or secondary schools, I get introduced as Mr. McMullen. But yeah, essentially now I'm Ben, and I'm very, very comfortable with that. Absolutely. But yes, they had a vocations fair, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
That was just a side thing. It just made me laugh because I was referring to everyone by the Mr, Mrs and such like.
So there could be some more Hallows people on there.
Yeah.
Year 8. Now I didn't teach year 8 this year. I taught year 7 up to Christmas, but I didn't teach any of the year 8s. But if you are from Hallows, hello.
Oh, there you go. Right, let's get started properly,
Yes.
Ali. We've I don't know. We've gone off piece there. Go on.
Well, no, it fits quite well.
Go on
into
then.
the first question.
What we're talking
And
about?
you've just been talking about all the different roles that you've had throughout your career and different things.
Yeah.
How has faith played a part in different moments of your life and through like your different career paths and different things like that?
Okay. I'll go back to sixth form if that's okay. I'd always gone to church. Unlike my 2 brothers who rebelled by about, I think my mum and dad gave up the battle at about the end of year 9, trying to get them to go to church. I always stayed as a churchgoer, but I think it was really in sixth form when I started to really develop this real sense of a God who had created me and who loved me. And I very much enjoyed being part of the church and part of a youth group. I grew up in Southport. So I went to Christ the King High School in Southport, and we had a couple of really lively groups that I went to in the evenings. On a Monday night we had a youth prayer group with the Agape community in Birkdale, and on a Tuesday night we had Southport Young Catholics. This is all sounding a bit geeky, but let's be honest. But it was actually really good people, youth people, young people my age, a couple of years below, a couple of years above. And we really had a great time meeting together, praying together, doing charity events together, doing acts of service together. It was in those 2 years of sixth form, I think, that I really developed my faith and became aware of a sense of vocation, knowing that I wanted in some way, but I had no idea how, but I wanted to do something with my life that wasn't just about earning money, though money's nice, but something where I would be kind of serving others, living out my faith, and working in some ways for the church. Now, what I would have probably gone on to do, I think, had it existed, but it didn't, I think I would have probably wanted to work at Animate for a year or 2 after sixth form. But Animate didn't exist in those days, so I didn't see that opportunity. I then went off to uni to do RE, or theology as it was known at uni, because I didn't want to continue any of my other A-levels. and had a great time at uni, but I came out thinking, what do I do with this sort of degree? And RE teaching seemed to be the obvious pathway for me. But I do think that if it existed back when I came out of uni, I'd probably gone into lay chaplaincy and wanted to be a school chaplain. That didn't really happen, and I came out of uni in 1993, and I think the first lay chaplain in the Archdiocese was up at Leyland St Mary's. I think it was Jimmy O'Donnell, and I think that was 1996.
Right.
So I was a few years off that. So I went into RE teaching. I felt my faith. I didn't feel at that time called to the priesthood. I didn't see any youth ministry roles available to me. There were retreat centres in other parts of the country, but Liverpool didn't have a youth team. So I thought I'll try RE teaching because I came from a family of teachers as well. And yeah, tried it and loved it. Does that answer the question? Was that a bit of a long-winded question?
No, yeah. It's just, yeah.
I think,
Does that take you back about 3 decades?
I think it's because obviously the danger for these kind of things is you've got people who are, you know, older than the year 8s watching this, and you don't want to. What we say is you don't want to be like, we don't want to be saying, well, you know, look at us, we're dead good. Everything's, you know, we've got our life fine. So I think it's good to take a step back and say, you know, you might enjoy RE at school, you might not enjoy RE at school, but that doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything about your faith life, you know. And equally, your faith life can take you off in one direction. You don't, just because you get confirmed doesn't mean you're going to be a priest or.
Not at all.
And so being of service to the community, because you actually mentioned community a couple of times there. I don't think did deliberately, but that, you know, you're part of a community and you're of service to people, which is what we're thinking about today. And you can do it in loads and loads of different ways.
Of course you can. You know, you can get confirmed, be confirmed, receive confirmation, however we want to describe it, and you can serve a community through sport, through music, through any kind of engineering, electrical job, technical jobs, administrative jobs. There are so many ways. I almost think it's hard to think of a job that doesn't involve service in some ways. You know, an accountant is serving people, a chef is serving people. You know, it just depends what type of service you feel called to do. For me, it was teaching, particularly the pull to work with teenagers. So I never considered primary school age. As lovely as they are, I was always quite clear, 11 to 18 for me, work with that age range, and that's why I think I would have really enjoyed the opportunity to work with teenagers in the youth ministry work that you do, Ellie, and Lauren does.
But one thing, Ellie can expand this, because when you introduce yourself, you do work with like young people outside of that school environment as well, and you did mention it when you introduced yourself. So do you want to kind of expand on that, or spend a bit more about that idea of service? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There you go. Go on.
Yeah, obviously you join us on our pilgrimage to Lourdes each year. Do you want to talk a bit more about your role as coach leader and what service plays in that part as well?
And maybe for young people
yeah,
as well,
people,
you know,
the role there.
You know, it's your service to them,
like.
but yeah, you know, how that fits in with like your faith, maybe fits in with your faith journey when you were a young person, how it does now, and maybe if there's anyone watching this, you know, they aren't going, oh, is that something for me? What's service all about there? I suppose just the whole thing really might be interesting.
Yeah, because if you're in year 8, this isn't something that's way off. There is a pilgrimage to Lourdes, an Archdiocesan pilgrimage to Lourdes, every year, open to year 10 and above. So you are actually only 2 years off that. And those 2 years will go very quickly, as I'm sure you realise. Now, I didn't go in year 10, but following on from one of my earlier answers about my experience of sixth form, a group of my friends decided that it would be good for us to try the Lourdes pilgrimage at the end of sixth form. So I have to say I was not so keen to go as some of my friends, and my real reason for going was simply that my friends were all going, and I thought, well, I didn't want to be left out. I have terrible FOMO. So I applied. We were 18, so we were older than the ones who go in year 10. I was put on there wasn't a Southport coach in those days. The coach I was placed on with my friends was the Wigan and Lee coach. Actually, it was the Lee coach really. There was a few people from Wigan, but in those days it was called the Lee coach. It was coach 4. It's hard to say it in words, but the experience I had was so fantastic that year. Absolutely loved the experience of going to Lourdes, the whole pilgrimage, working with the assisted pilgrims by pushing their wheelchairs around the town or to services or to shops or to cafes, talking to pilgrims, trying to brighten up their day, singing to them, telling jokes. Those small acts of service, so powerful, and the friendships I made people. One of the strengths about the Lourdes pilgrimage is it's not a school trip, and therefore you really mix with people outside of your age group, but also outside of your immediate geographical area and circle. So it broadens your horizons really. The age range of a Lourdes coach is, as I've said, year 10, but up to 22. So 15 to 22, 7 years is a wide span. And it's hard to think of any other opportunity where you'd get to mix with such a wide range of people. And again, we mix areas on a coach, so they're not all going to be from your immediate area. So the coach I now lead covers parts of Lancashire. So we have Penwitham, Chorley, Leyland, Upholland and Orrell, that area of the Archdiocese. And it's great to see within a day or two the friendships that are formed from outside of people's immediate school or parish experience. So I went in 1989 when I was 18, loved it, went back the following year, and the following year, and the following year, and the following year. Eventually becoming coach leader in 1995 of Coach 4, 96, when I was 25. And then stepped down in 2000, had 2001 off, but then in 2002 was called back to, asked if I would lead Coach 5. So I moved from Coach 4 to Coach 5, and I've led Coach 5 ever since, really, from 2002 onwards. Of course I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. I absolutely do love it. I've taken, hundreds and hundreds of young people to Lourdes and staff. So many of them come back time and time again, as we all know. I've got on my coach this year Anna, an angel, who I think are coming for the 6th time, Jack I think for the 5th time, and a number of them coming for the 4th or 3rd time. There has been an interruption for a couple of years with COVID, but so many people return time and time again, and make a sacrifice financially to come, but also they turn down other opportunities that they might have in the summer holidays to go, because it's such an important experience for them. So I guess my advice to you would be, if you get the opportunity to go in year 10 or 11 or in 6th form, absolutely take that leap. It's a bit of a leap of faith, because you don't know what it's like until you get there, but no one ever comes back saying, well, that was rubbish, or I wish I'd not done that. Instead they say, when are the application forms out for next year? So I would really encourage you to do that. So
just before Ellie kind of moves on, so there's a few other things you were asking about, but I think it was interesting because, as you were saying now, it's sometimes a bit easier having the second person on, because you can refer back to what the first person has just been talking about, because Kate was referring to this whole idea about opportunities, because she was talking about being a community and how the church community or faith community is different to another kind of community, because you meet different people, you meet a broader range of people, and I think that was pretty much, so this wasn't planned in the slightest, and only you knew what Kate said, we didn't know what she was going to say, and didn't know what you were going to say then, but really that's just like a living example of what she was talking about there, that you've got 15-year-olds from Orrell and 22-year-olds from Penwitham, mixing on a coat, like sharing ideas, sharing the lives, sharing the faith journeys with each other, and you learn something from the 22-year-old, learn something from the 15-year-old, 15-year-old learn something from the 22-year-old, and the staff learn things from the young people as well. It isn't like directed down.
And you know, we saw this on school trips to a lesser extent, but you know, we used to take every couple of years groups to Rome, and it was open to year 9 and year 10. And it was always lovely to see year 9 and 10 becoming mates with each other throughout the course of the trip. You know, when we set off from school, they were completely segregated. and separate, you know, and didn't mix. Oh, by a day or two into the trip, they were making new friends across year groups, and I loved that, and I think that's what I really loved about sixth form when I was in lower sixth, getting to know the upper sixth. People like making friends with people older than themselves. They just do. You know, I don't know, some might make them feel cool, I don't know. And I think in the Lourdes pilgrimage you really get that sense of that when you see these fantastic friendships developing across ages. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yes, I'm going to read from the paper because it's a very wordy question.
Yeah,
so I don't want to...
Lourdes has been like an important part in life, but it isn't just like Lourdes, is it? So because there's a few schools and things, so go on, Ali.
So from what we've heard and know about you, from all your different roles that you've been of service to young people.
Teaching,
yeah.
Senior leadership at teaching,
yeah.
Loads,
yeah.
like youth group kind of things as well when you're younger, and then they're all now in like with the diocese, so like the diocese, like the
I've not really talked about that.
we haven't really, kind of glossed over that a little bit. We mentioned it a little bit, so kind of looking after all the schools in our area around like Liverpool areas, like the diocese. So all those different roles.
With mixing of confirmation and education together, is there a message you would like to give the young people who are receiving the sacrament of confirmation?
Linked to education, yeah. I kind of think I know where you're going with that. I suppose I'm really glad confirmation's in year 8. I was confirmed in year 9, and it was very much tied in with options. So I think I'll do history, PE, food tech and confirmation. And I know why schools were doing it, but I'm just not sure it's that going to fit. I think year 8's a really important year. You've got over the hurdle of settling into secondary school, that big change in your life. And in year 9, things start to really change your focus with your options and with picking your GCSE courses and starting the GCSE courses at the beginning of year 10. And then after that, you've got the whole pressure of GCSEs and GCSE exams, and then what next after GCSE. Year 8 can be left, and I think it's a good point to place confirmation, because I think it's an opportunity for you to reflect on yourself, your lives, your faith, what you'd like for the future, and to really think about taking that bit of a commitment to living out your faith a bit more. You're very much moving from childhood to the teenage years and adolescence, and it's a great opportunity to really link home, school and parish together, and in terms of supporting you and forming you as young people from your home life, but also school with your RE lessons, learning about confirmation in school, but also seeing if you can find a place in your parish as well. And the starting point has to be to walk through the door and to go and to see what it's like, and maybe introduce yourself to someone there or one of the priests, and see if there's a role for you there, if there's any youth groups or parish groups that you can get involved with. So I think it's an exciting time to really take that plunge before all the exam pressure kicks in a couple of years' time. So I'm glad it's in year 8, and I know we've moved confirmation around, and not just in this diocese, but nationally and possibly internationally. For a number of years, confirmation was taken down to the primary school age. I'm very comfortable with it being in year 8, because I think that's a good year where you can really feel supported and strengthened by the Holy Spirit, which is what you're receiving at confirmation.
And I suppose we are coming towards the end of things a little bit, but once again, I have forgot to say that if anyone did want to put any messages in the chat, now is the opportunity, so Lauren will just keep an eye on things there. But I suppose just to give people a bit of time if they did want to ask anything, I suppose it is good, like you say, in year 8, because it also to have this sacrament, especially with the, this, it's good, I think it's good to end with serve, because, well, you can't say one aspect of the 4 strands of call by name, call to serve, call to community, call to action is more important than another. But I really do think in our diocese, like this area around like Liverpool, going towards Penwith and out towards Warrington, Widnes, but this whole area we call Liverpool Archdiocese, there really is this idea of like a call to serve. I see it more here than I would do in other parts of the country. And And it is a great opportunity to think, well, confirmation now going to allow me to maybe to be of service to other people. And you know, you've given one example of things like Loads in a couple of years, and Kate spoke about other things, you know, being a community, being part of a youth group, and all these, being serving in a parish, in a community, in a parish, and all these other examples. And I think, you know, hopefully if you're watching this and listening to what all four guests have said, but especially Ben towards the end there, it gives an idea of different ways you can serve. Like the church and faith isn't just, oh, I see the priest at the front, that's like faith service, or I see, you know, you were an RE teacher, but you know, that's just an example we've got today. But you know, it isn't just being an RE teacher or a chaplain. Service is done in innumerable different ways. And you know, people watching this are probably serving others now, but confirmation just gives you that maybe impetus to do it more, to see the world in a different way, to see opportunities to serve people in different ways that they might have had before. Whereas, you know, your eyes are opened a little bit through those different gifts of the Spirit we mentioned, of all wonder at the world around you, people in the world, and all of a sudden you think, crikey, I can get involved in those different ways of service though. So I'm kind of hoping that, you know, if you are watching this and you think about servanthood and service, you know, the examples that you've given and talked a little bit about might just allow young people watching this in year 8 to think, yeah, actually that, you know, I can see how faith allows me to be of service to so many different people around me. Having said all of that, Lauren, do we have any questions in our chat?
No, we don't actually.
All right, this has been
That's all right. I've sent them all to sleep.
Yeah. We have not had any questions in the chat either last week or this week. I think
we haven't.
No.
Which is alright, because I think we do kind of cover quite a lot in the questioning. So, and there's a lot of information to take in.
There is, yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't be typing questions in the chat either, to be honest. I'm just glad people helped out with the Disney Princesses question earlier. That was far more important to be going in the chat. So, just before we do wrap up, I do want to say thanks to Ben for making time to come over here and speak a little bit. We'll end just with a very, very brief prayer, as we should do, as thinking about confirmation. But before we do end with our prayer, I do just want to remind people, like I reminded you last time, if you're watching this because you've been asked to watch it, then presumably someone's already been in touch with you about your local preparation meeting, so hope they're all going well. If you've just kind of seen this and then you think, oh, I should be watching this, but you know, no one's been in touch in your local area, your church or something, or you're not sure about things, you know, like, you know, how to pick a name or what you need to wear for your actual confirmation. Really, they're not that, these things are not that important. I suppose your name, picking a name is important, but it's not something to get too worried about, too hung up about. A quick chat with someone maybe in the parish office, and it was about logistics of what happens on the day, or the parish priest, go and see your parish priest after Mass on a Sunday, something like that. So go and see them, they'll know everything that's going on in your local area. So unfortunately, you know, there's, I don't know, a couple of 100 parishes knocking around, so if you reply, I put something in the chat here, reply to an email I sent out, I probably won't be able to answer your question, I don't think. So just speak to your own parish priest, they'll know like when things are happening, when the practices are going to happen. And if you're worried about things like names, how to choose a name, and all that kind of stuff, you know, don't get hung up on it too much. It's a very, very simple process and things like that. So it's nothing really to worry about. But I think that was. Is there any other logistic stuff I need to say that way? Is that it? Yeah. Right. So perhaps so we finished before 6, so we've got 8 minutes or so. So perhaps just for the last minute. Maybe just ask for the Lord to be with us, and especially with you watching this in your journey towards receiving the sacrament of confirmation. So we just pray for the Lord to be with you. Pray for the gift of the Holy Spirit to descend upon you in the sacrament of confirmation, that will allow you to be a full member of the community of which you're a part and which you're going to be confirmed, the wider church community, far bigger than a school or even just a parish, a worldwide, a universal community that includes everyone takes them as they are, takes them as they're created by the Lord to be, takes you as you were created to be, but asks you as part of that community to be of service to those around you in any way that the Lord might be asking, in as many different ways as there are different people amongst us. And so we just ask for that gift of the Holy Spirit to be with you in a time of preparation, especially on the day when you are confirmed. And we ask these in all our prayers through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen. So thanks very much to Ben once again. Thanks to Kate as well for coming over for like half an hour or so. It's a bit of a trek out of your way for like half an hour, so I do appreciate you making the time and effort to get over here. And hopefully these couple of sessions for people who've been watching this have been useful for you, thinking about all the different 4 elements of our confirmation process, and hopefully be of use to you as you continue your journey towards confirmation and just your faith journey in general for the rest of your life. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hope all goes well in your preparation time. So goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.